think he kind of represents the whole spirit of Seattle.
Do you know Bruce? We've got an up-close look at the new Bruce Lee exhibit and how the Emerald City helped shape this martial arts master. Plus,
I've become addicted. I love it here.
How a hillside on Beacon Hill is now home to one of the nation's largest food forests. These stories and more on this episode of CityStream. Hi, and welcome to CityStream. I'm Abby Gibb. We're here at the Wing Luke Asian Museum right in the heart of the International District. Always a really great place to visit, but there is a special new exhibit that just opened up about the incomparable Bruce Lee. Of course, a Seattle legend. It's called Do You Know Bruce? And it's the only one of its kind outside of Hong Kong. Brian Callanan shows us more about how the city of Seattle was able to shape this martial arts master.
How does one man's life become larger than life? Does his heart beat with a different rhythm? Do his dreams dance in brighter colors? Do his fists fly faster than the wind? Or do his humble origins in Seattle's Chinatown hold the secret to the lasting legend of Bruce Lee? Welcome to the Wing Luke Museum's newest exhibit, Do You Know Bruce? It's a tribute to a man named by Time magazine as one of the greatest heroes of the 20th century, who upended stereotypes of Asians in the film industry and kicked the term action star into a new stratosphere. But before his international acclaim, Bruce Lee was a young man who studied philosophy at the University of Washington and opened his first kung fu school in Seattle back in 1963.
Seattle meant a great deal to Bruce.
Linda Lee Cadwell, Bruce's widow, remembers that year well. In September, he asked her on their first date in the middle of a training session where she was his student.
But on this occasion, when he threw me down to the ground, he said to me, "How would you like to go to the Space Needle?"
Moments like these have been captured throughout this exhibit. How the man who reworked our concept of martial arts started by working at Ruby Chow's restaurant. How the man known for his fighting spirit espoused a philosophy of peace.
He loved the Pan-Asian community and the whole diversity of Seattle. And Bruce Lee was a man who did not judge a person by what race they were. And personally, he was always writing and always reading and always forming his own way of life in his mind. And that all started here in Seattle.
This was my idea.
Linda and Bruce's daughter, Shannon, who now runs the Bruce Lee Foundation, sees him as a true Seattle icon who broke down societal barriers long before he broke into the movie industry.
This is where he first started to teach. You weren't supposed to teach Chinese Kung Fu to non-Chinese, but he didn't care. Anyone who had a real sincere interest in learning what Kung Fu was, he wanted to teach them.
It's a lesson not lost on the city's leaders in full uniform for an official proclamation.
In Seattle, Bruce Lee Day.
Council members Bruce Harrell and Nick Licata say Bruce Lee embodies Seattle's ethic of determination, innovation, and an optimistic push towards the future.
I like to think that he carried on the culture of Seattle, of being open, of being generous, of really being a true human being who cared about other folks.
He's inspirational. I think that's what our city continues to need, is inspiration. So that's what this day represents. That's what Bruce Lee represents.
And it is a lasting inspiration for Bruce Lee's best friend in Seattle, Taki Kimura.
When I see all these things about Bruce, I'm just so happy because all these years have gone by. He could be forgotten, you know.
There you are again.
It's been more than 40 years since Bruce Lee's untimely death at the age of 32. But Kimura says the power of Bruce Lee's influence, now seen in a new light at the Wing Luke Museum, is as strong as ever.
he left a legacy of who he was and all this and the history about him. To this day, I think that's why he's still remembered well.
It is the legacy of one man's life who became larger than life. It is the story of a man who established his roots right next door to us before he blossomed into a superstar.
I think he kind of represents the whole spirit of Seattle.
The meaning of his life and his message is still relevant. It has to do with being your best self and cultivating who you are and expressing that and empowering people.
I mean, there's so much division in the world between people, and he's a person who brings people together.
The Do You Know Bruce exhibit will be here for the next 3 years, but make sure you check back every year as new items are going to be added. There's also still plans to create an entire Bruce Lee museum right here in the city of Seattle. Still to come on CityStream, from pea patches to a food forest, how the city of Seattle is once again leading the way on sustainable gardening. But first, how your trash is becoming another source of energy.
Are you on the go? Then take CityStream with you. Log on to seattlechannel.org or iTunes to sign up for podcasts of every CityStream episode. Then download them to your mobile device and you'll never miss a show.
Well, on top of being just fascinating, this exhibit is also hands-on. It allows visitors to be able to leave their own personal messages about how Bruce Lee has inspired them. Speaking of paper, it is no surprise that us Seattleites love to recycle, but not everything can be. Nicole Sanchez shows us a new program that is converting some things in the landfill right into energy.
This is my garbage. Down to one little bag.
Paul Murphy cares about the environment.
You gotta be green, that's my motto.
Paul says he rarely has trash, but when he does, he likes the idea that Seattle is putting the trash to good use.
I think it's great that they're doing that and being proactive in a way that's gonna recycle and reuse and not fill the landfills with rubbish.
We're taking literally garbage and turning it into a resource to bring it right back here and power people's homes.
It might sound futuristic, but this program has actually been in place for several years, thanks to a partnership with Waste Management and their landfill in Arlington, Oregon, where all of Seattle's trash is taken.
Columbia Ridge Landfill is a highly engineered facility, and in 2009 we started capturing the methane gas from the garbage at the landfill, and through a process we created electricity.
Here's how it works. When people in Seattle throw out their trash, it's collected either by a garbage truck or they can drop it off here at the South Park landfill. It's then compacted down and put into these big containers, which are loaded on a train. That train goes south to Waste Management's Columbia Ridge Landfill Gas Power Plant. They're able to use the methane gas that's created by rotting trash and convert it into energy to fuel a power plant that's located on site. That electricity comes back to Seattle and is then sent out to power thousands of homes and businesses.
Oh, it's amazing. It's really a great feature to have. We don't like to generate a lot of waste. Seattle typically recycles about 55–60% of all of its waste. But what does go to the landfill, we want to repurpose so we waste less and make more energy and make more positive things.
In August, Waste Management expanded the Columbia Ridge facility and is now generating 12.8 megawatts of energy. That means more than 12,000 Seattle homes will be getting their power, all thanks to the energy created by trash.
We added 4 more containers, which is a total of 8, and we have doubled the capacity. So we're doubling, more than doubling, the electricity we're sending back to Seattle.
Another plus to the trash to energy model is that this type of clean energy is not weather dependent. You don't have to rely on wind or sun to generate it. And this program is helping Seattle meet the new renewable energy goals of Initiative 937.
As the nation's greenest utility, we're always looking for opportunities to expand our portfolio in clean renewable energy. We've been a carbon neutral utility since 2005, and this is one more way that's going to help us meet the goals set by Initiative 937 to have 15% of our energy portfolio delivered by new renewable energy resources by the year 2020.
Seattle City Light, along with waste management officials, say they'll continue to look for new and innovative ways to power the city while staying true to being green. And that's something people in Seattle are excited about.
I noticed a long time ago that things needed to change, and it's just great to see that they're doing something. I'm not a big fan of digging into the earth and taking all the fossil resources.
You know, my dream is that we don't even need garbage.
%90 of Seattle City Light's energy comes from the renewable resource of hydroelectricity. To learn more about that great project, just head to our website at seattlechannel.org/CityStream. And we will be right back. Seattle is home to urban farms, pea patches, green spaces, and now an edible forest. Right in the heart of Beacon Hill, over 7 acres, it all used to be just grass. Now it's one of the nation's largest food forests. So what exactly is a food forest? Well, Shannon G shows us how some volunteers are able to make this an edible reality.
I've become addicted. I love it here.
The gardens look amazing, and yeah, the growth is incredible.
This project is us taking ownership of our commons, that this is public space and it's owned by all of the people.
It's amazing. Just this idea inspires so many people, and they gather around it and bring their energy to the table. It's really powerful.
A food forest, it emulates a natural forest, except we're planting things that human beings can use.
And it looks to create more of an ecological food production gardening. So it's sort of urban agriculture where we are trying to mimic a natural woodland system, but we're placing in different edible and useful plants for the community.
Also in a food forest, what's happening is this relationship between the plants and the ecosystem. When we plant things, we want to make sure that they're complementing and working together and providing a number of functions. Something flowers, it's going to provide nectar and pollen to local honeybees.
It's built on a system of guilds, which has 7 layers. The top layer would be the canopy and the trees, fruits and nuts, going down into shrubs and berries, down into perennials, down into herbaceous, down into soil amendments and vines as well.
What it is creating is a very rich ecosystem that has more life than, say, a monoculture of agriculture, and it's got a lot more long-term sustainability to it.
The project started in a permaculture design course. We created this 13-acre design for this whole area on the western slope. And the most useful tool that we came out of that class was this physical map that we had drawn. And we used that map to show the community for the first time what a food forest could be and what a community garden could be here actually on this land.
We had expected maybe 30 people to come, and 60 to 70 people came. We wanted to feed people well, we had an abundance of food, and a diverse number of people came that night. And it was also the night that the hired landscape architect and permaculture designer came in and brought some ideas for us to mull over, and then having people say, I like this, and rub shoulders looking over the tables and point and sketch and start getting excited about something that was coming together.
Right now we're in a very young forest right now. We started 2 years ago, so our trees are pretty young, but we've gotten in a lot of the perennials and the shrubs, so forth, to support these trees.
And it's different than a pea patch in a community garden in our urban settings is that our traditional Seattle pea patches, community gardens, allot plots to families who tend them. And they're typically 10 by 10, and families typically do annual vegetables. And so this differs on the food forest area is that this is an open harvest. We call it ethical harvest for everyone. So when people walk through the park and they see a ripe berry, they can enjoy that. And when it's time to harvest apples, we will have some instruction and signage on how to do that gently and ethically, like take some for yourself, leave some for somebody else. The work parties and the ability to get involved is open to everyone, so if someone's passing through from Texas, they can come and help and then move on. That's a little different than a pea patch model.
And this, as you can see, we've covered everything with wood chips, which is actually robbing the soil of nitrogen. So the lupins are trying to fix it again.
With the wood chips, the mycelium love it, you know? So it's a balance that you're trying to attain.
And if people want to come back regularly but not be obligated to tend a garden that's specifically under their care, this really works for them, that they can come and do it collectively, shoulder to shoulder, side by side with people, and learn from each other and enjoy a day like today.
I've been volunteering for about 2 years now, taking on all sorts of projects, leading teams at work parties, and making efforts go further in all sorts of directions.
Fresh food! Free food!
For example, tonight, every Wednesday night, a group of us have come together to harvest and pass the food out to the local community as a way to engage them and let them know that the area down there is for the community to grow food together. Explore the idea of how to grow food for each other, how to take what you need and share the abundance.
I love eating them.
Well, thank you for all being here. We're going to begin our celebration of completing phase 1 of the Beacon Food Forest. Projects like the Beacon Food Forest are adding a foundation of health right in the center of a city.
1,000 people have been involved with this project, I could safely say, done something here. That's really satisfying to physically do something together and have a result that we call ours together. It's been a palette for dreaming.
People from all over the globe have been asking these organizers how to recreate it in their own city. If you're interested in permaculture, you can head to one of their work parties. And don't let the bad Seattle weather scare you. Winter work party still sees somewhere around 100 people. You know we've got it for you. All the information on our website, seattlechannel.org/CityStream.
Your city, your stories on CityStream. Fighting robots and golfing hotshots, picture-taking cats and stylish hats, exploring the beach and delicious treats, silver bowls and painting walls, bicycle cops and Seattle-grown crops, SUPs and urban trees, city bees and jogging dogs, historic halls and pickleballs, baby seals and cheap deals. Your city, your stories on CityStream. Thursdays at 7 p.m. on Seattle Channel 21, at any time on seattlechannel.org.
While I've been exploring this museum, I found out that Bruce Lee and I share a couple of things in common. We are both 5'7". He is 135. I do not have that kind of muscle mass, so I luckily do not weigh that. 20-inch lats, can you believe it? And a 12-inch waist in diameter, which means, look at this, 20-inch lats. And on a good day, here we go, suck it in. I think I make about a 12-inch waist. Well, that'll do it for us. You really have to check out this place. So fascinating. It's going to be here at the Wing Luke Museum for the next 3 years. Now, I've also been working one other thing, the 1-inch punch. Yeah, I know, I'm gonna have to work on that one a little bit more. That is what I'm gonna do. I'm Abby Gibb. Thanks for joining us for CityStream.